Okay, let's take a further look at handicapping a racing card. So again, with your main screen available, under handicapping, I'm going to assume you've downloaded the racing card. And one thing I failed to mention, if you download it and it's a zipped format, it will automatically unzip even without manually unzipping it once you manually select it. So we'll say manual. Again, let me X out on this because this is the default, the one I've recently used. So we'll say no to that. So if you know where your racing cards are, you just go find them. And let's say here under C:handicap, I've got a bunch of racing cards, zipped and unzipped. So this is where, I would have had the Delaware. I'll show you Delaware 0922. So here is the racing card. Notice here's the zip and also the results too. But we'll talk more about results a little bit later. So again, with the racing card, they're all have an extension of DRF. We'll select that. We'll go to the first race. Now the program is running and it's actually doing some picks, but there's no weighting file selected. So this would be like raw picks. Notice the numbers are pretty low. But right now, this program number 3, King Allen, is the highest pick the program has selected. On the main screen, you notice you have the morning line odds, the number in parentheses, the last time he raced, style, the velocity, that's in feet per second. And so workout rating. This is your overall score. And then what the scores would have been if you're only looking at the top 3. And then this is the total sum. So anyway, and again, you see the jockey and the trainer. But again, this is the raw picks. So what you want to do at this point is go under weighting factors, display. Here you can set weighting factors manually, but I've already done that with a particular file. So I'm going to load my criteria file. Notice I have criteria files. The extensions are CRI for various tracks. I believe when I provided the software, you have basic. I say basic, but they've been weighted against hundreds of races, but they're generic routes, generic turf, and a generic sprint. But in this particular case, since it's a route, 1 mile, 110 yards, I'm going to pick Delaware route dirt. Would be my racing car of my weighting factor. Notice here you can see that the scales have numbers because that's what this weighting factor has previously set up. You could also do a few other things on here if you wanted to, like if you want to give credit for a shipper, change in jockey, you want to give credit for the this year's career earnings, last year's, so on. If you want to give credit for a horse that has less weight than others, age differences, and so on. Anyway, we're going to say return. Now the program is going to recalculate the picks based upon that criteria. Now notice the numbers. We're now up into the 500s and so on. Notice the number span goes from 502 all the way down to the, in this case, the 5th pick, 333. So again, the program is calling out this favorite, King Allen, for the pick. And I believe that horse did win. Okay, so now that you have that, notice you could hit different displays. So I could look at past races. So again, these are maiden claiming, so you don't have a lot of past races, but you'll see you can make adjustments to the columns, and the program will remember those adjustments. But here, for example, King Allen, if you look at his last 3 races, he was 3rd, he was 4th, he was 3rd in the stretch. Let's look at the finish. Let's move this a little bit closer. Here he's 3rd. I'm sorry, let's go back to King Allen. King Allen was 3rd, he was 2nd, he was 3rd. So he's about ready to peak out. You can look at career stats. Again, a whole bunch of information. You could read the headings. You could look at the previous workouts. And for example, under workouts, you can, let's say I want to look at the rankings. Yeah, how about, let's do days since. You could hit sort, ascend, and you're going to see that King Allen actually did a workout 9 days ago. You can see his times and so on. In fact, I have up here just a little a guide as to what would be a very good workout for the various distances. You can look at horse earnings. You could look at jockey and trainer numbers. Again, you can move these columns, give you more room so you can look. You can look at top performance, and these are other weighted factors for these horses. Here you're going to see a little, and the helps will give it to you. For example, like if he was a shipper, he's coming from the outside. Notice this is a yes. So King Allen actually is coming from, he raced somewhere else besides Delaware. He's had a jockey change. And so on. Changes in distance, surfaces, whether or not he's got changes in medication. Okay. We've had all points picked as a sorted column. We'll go back again, like all points. But if you want this to be sorted on the top 3 picks, it will rearrange that and put it on the top 3. Also, there's some dosage display. You can take a look at, you know, the horse and its stud fee, sire's name, and so on. Okay. From here, under advanced features, you can filter out certain races that you don't want to have in the calculation. Here you could scratch the horse out, or for example, if you don't want to see any off-track races, or you want to omit any distance greater than today's, you know, different things you could filter out. And these filters will recalculate and pull out those races and affect the picks. You can look at a class evaluation. This is putting past races under class. You can look at the class rating numbers, its finishes, and so on. Pretty handy tools. You can look at horse value. Now, the horse value, this is interesting. Remember those weighted factors? Here you can see the numbers. So, for example, King Allen, how many points is he scoring for any one of these weighted factors? You could actually put horses in the value. So in other words, King Allen, he would have scored the highest under that particular rating. So you can get a real quick look of what horses have scored the highest in a particular rating. Or you can look at the specific horse and his numbers. So all you got to do is select like Big Daddy Buzz, come up here to horse value, and you'll see Big Daddy Buzz's numbers. Okay? Add to self-tune, we'll talk about that later. Link to a betting screen. Here you can take those picks, and I've populated them in popular betting schemes. Okay? And you can read more about that in the help screens. Eliminate pace, we'll talk more about that later. Peaking profile, here you're looking at those, again, those 5 horses, and you're looking at the results, the past results, and see whether or not you could start to see if a horse is starting to peak. It's hard to tell, but like, again, we can go to King Allen. Notice he's had, he's in 3rd. X's, he's had a layoff greater than 28 days, but when he came back, he hit 5th. Then he hit another layoff, but he came back 2nd. Had another layoff, came back 3rd. So maybe he's ready to win, and of course he is. But again, you can click on, and you can see all the past races for the particular horse. Okay? What else? Under show results, Notice you're going to see these results. That's because the results racing card was downloaded. I'll talk more about this in another video. But here I give a quick look at, you can see who won. And in fact, the fractional times for the races are up here. You notice there are other opportunities to see the numbers, how well they paid out. Unfortunately, when you use the full charts results do not provide that information. And you can see a jockey trainer profile. The jockey trainer starts, wins, plays shows, and return on investments. Another little handy little tool. So you can see here's the number 5 horse. That jockey trainer profile has actually had a pretty decent return on investment. Okay. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you. Of course, you can select the next race. Program will select race number 2. It's also a route. No, I'm sorry, this one's a sprint. Notice the weighting factor is the previous one. So with this one, you'd want to go back up here and change and select a sprint type of weighting factor, something that you've tuned, or you can use one of the ones that I've provided. But then the same format will exist. You could also go directly to a race. Let's say I want to go to the 7th race. Put 7, hit the return key, and the 7th race will appear. It's doing calculation showing the picks. Again, this is now a route, 1 mile, 110 yards, but it's on the turf. This weighting factor is a route on a dirt, so you want to change that to your turf weighting factor. Okay? So anyway, I want to give you a look at the basic capability of handicapping.